All right, welcome everyone. We are back on the regular schedule for these live streams. Okay, so I'm just gonna start out right away and take a look at the overnight futures right now. So what I have in front of you all is the Nasdaq mini futures. It's backward slash NQ. Okay, so excuse me, forward slash NQ. And if you guys want to look at SPY futures, it's forward slash ES. Okay, but on TradingView, you guys can just type in ES or NQ and you'll get this right away. But let's go back to NQ first. Oops, let's go back to NQ. Nope, wrong one. Okay, so NQ looks pretty interesting. So first of all, we did have a big movement to the downside, okay, today, and that may have been the top from this recent rally that we've had. But at the same time, here's what I'm saying, okay, as we're heading lower and lower, all right, we're gonna see a lot quicker bounces and a lot quicker sell-offs. And what that means is that we're gonna have shorter bounces and shorter sell-offs, right? So when we first started this downtrend, right, we had a very long downtrend and then another long downtrend, and then when we actually started bouncing, right, this was our first initial big bounce, which lasted for over 2 weeks, right? And then our next big bounce was a couple of weeks back here, and we bounced for around 2 to 3 days, okay, and the rally kind of died down after that, for the next 1.5 weeks, and then we fell again, right? And we're seeing some more volatility as we come in, and that's because the price is trying to find a good range, and a tight price range, to kind of start consolidating a bit as we continue to slow down on this downward path that we've been on for the past couple of months since 2022 started. So I'm going to expect, if we do have another leg down, I'm going to expect a very, very quick pullback, as we've seen with this bear market rally, right? This bear market rally lasted at least, I would say, 2 or even 3 days, if you guys want to have an arbitrary point of where we start to rally. Personally, for me, I would say it was 2 days, but if you want to count this candlestick right here on June 23rd, you guys can say that this is a 3-day rally as well. But with that in mind, okay, Nasdaq futures is sort of a holding here, and if you take a look at not the RSI, well, let's look at the RSI first. We see that the RSI is showing some strength, all right, and whenever we have a downturn like this, you know, we want to see the RSI staying relatively strong, especially where the price is at right now. And if you guys take a look at when the price was here, okay, the price was relatively very, very weak, okay? But when we, you know, we're right back into those previous prices, right? And so that means, you know, you would expect the price, you know, to be very, very weak, considered the big downturn movement that we had today. And that's not the case, is it? Right? So the RSI is showing some really good strength on the price here. And I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if we bounced hard, okay, and start, you know, climbing back up and crawling back up above and trying to gain back the losses that we made today. And you know, it's a very volatile environment, like I said previously, right? As the price continues to try to find a tighter price range and a good consolidation range for the near-term future, because at some point this downtrend is going to lose steam, and I'm starting to see some signs of this sell-off energy kind of dying down here. So as it continues to get lower volume, right, I expect us to find a good wide price range, okay, until we start tightening that price range within that price range. So if you go back to ES here, it's the same thing, same story, right? Nope, not Eversource, right? So for ES here, same thing, right? RSI, right, when the price was hitting around these ranges, it was very, very weak. But when we came back down, okay, and the price right now, where it's at right now, it's still showing good relative strength. If you see right here, right, just take a look at the RSI oscillator, right? You can clearly tell there's a difference in relative strength compared to the prices that we saw in the previous trading days, right? So in this area, it was very, very weak, but since we came right back into the same area, the relative strength is a lot different thanks to that bear market rally that we had the past 2 to 3 days, right? Or that we have for 2 to 3 days. So tomorrow, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised the market rallies again, attempts to rally at the very least, and tries to crawl back. But the thing is, I want us to break 3840, which is a resistance level that I've been looking at. And I want us to break this so that we can stay above it, so that in order for us to have a nice small gap up tomorrow at open and continue to go up higher, right? All I want to see is a little tiny gap up, but if there's a nice big gap up, that's fine as well. Okay. But I'm going to keep on you know, watching this, because you know, as the futures develop, I will continue to monitor through the late nights and see where it goes, because Asian markets still have yet to open and European markets still have yet to open as well. Okay. All right, so let's look at some names. So coin here, all right, Coinbase. All right, so Coinbase, I took an early trade here, right here, thinking that it's gonna go down, but Coinbase actually broke down today. So if I had held, I would have been in huge loss, right? So obviously I didn't decide to take a look at its name again, because, well, why would I, right? I thought there would be a little bit more consolidating needed before it decides to go down again, but it decided to move lower with the markets, okay? But the only thing that I worry about is this trend break was not accompanied by a big giant rush in selling volume, right? Instead, we actually got lower selling volume compared to yesterday, right? So I'm seeing this kind of trend between the volume and these breakdowns, these breakouts to the downside across a broad range of names, right? So if this continues, I expect us to start having a bigger bounce in the next couple of weeks, and possibly some consolidation, because what we need, especially after a long-term sell-off, is a very, very large base, a large consolidation base where we can officially you know, say that the market is starting to, or has been, accumulating at those consolidated price ranges. Okay, and you know, that's the reason why I've been looking. Well, I've been saying that I want to see some consolidation after this. You know, after this volatility kind of goes away, and these big movements to the downside and bounce to the upside kind of subside. Okay. All right. So it seems like there's not a lot of people here tonight, but that is okay. You know what? Let me actually make sure that people know that we are live right now. I did not post, especially on my Twitter account. If you guys aren't following my Twitter, you guys should be following Twitter, my Twitter account. I post a lot of valuable stuff on there. Okay, let me. There we go. Right. Okay. I have set the tweet. Hey Joe, what's up? So, you know, if you go back to SPY here, right? So, like I said, across a broad range of names, we're seeing some names that are starting to kind of sell off with lower selling volume than what I would expect, right? And we're seeing this everywhere, right? Not just in the markets, but every single name that has been beaten down the past few months. So that's one of the first key signs I look for, the volume, right? Because, you know, if we had a peak in volume, for example, right here on SPY, right, when we sold off pretty rapidly, and we saw a big jump in volume, this may have been the peak. Who knows, right? But like I said, this sell-off that we've seen in the markets, the volume has been consistently going lower, right? Averagely, right? It's been consistently going lower and lower and lower and lower, right? So at some point, like I said, we need to find some consolidation where we, you know, get comfortable between two price ranges, right? A support and a resistance, which is the reason why I say we need to start consolidating at some point in the near-term future. You know, but for now, right? I would say that the bear market rally try to, you know, really revive itself. But if you follow the trends and the price patterns, you usually get to understand that once the end of a, you know, of a downtrend or an uptrend, you tend to get very, very quick movements to the upside and to the downside, right? Which is why we only got at least 2 to 3 days of a bear market rally, right? And we immediately flushed lower today. But like I said, tomorrow I'm expecting a small gap up, and we can follow and continue the downtrend tomorrow if we decide to do that. So we shall see. What else? Oh, let's talk about JD. Right. So JD.com. Okay. So this is a very, very strong Chinese name. All right. It's another competitor to Alibaba. Right. These are both e-commerce names, and JD.com is sort of, you know, I wouldn't say that it's kind of a recession-proof name, but if there is recession in the U.S., I don't think Chinese names will be too, right? It won't be too affected, which is the reason why I'm saying it could be a possibility that this could be a recession-proof. But like I said, it's an e-commerce name, right? People will, you know, be buying stuff a lot online when the economy is good, not in a recession, right? The economy should be expanding so that the retail, you know, revenue is flowing in, and for e-commerce sectors. So, you know, who knows, right? We'll have to see when the economy actually starts receding and we actually see an official recession stated from economists and from analysts, right? So, you know, with JD.com so far, we're just gonna follow the price action. We're forming a nice ascending triangle here, right? If we continue to see this tight and tighter price action, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, right? Impulse to move up, and we're starting to kind of get tighter and tighter within this trading range, right? we can break out above 67.20ish or around 67.50, or why not just a whole number of 68, right? If you want that clear, easy number to work with, right? So 68 will be your official confirmed breakout entry, but you know, it's been riding this 10 and 21 SMA for quite some time, and really well for the past 2.5 weeks here, more than 2.5 weeks actually. So, you know, I would expect JD to have a nice run up again tomorrow. But other than that, I would say the whole entire Chinese sector has been relatively strong. If you haven't watched my recent video on China, make sure you do that. Kind of go over my own personal theories and implications on what China is trying to do with its private sector. So I would highly recommend that you guys watch that. But yeah, so you know, JD is one of the high alert ones I'm looking out for tomorrow. There isn't much left to kind of look at tomorrow other than TTD. This one has been a loss for this week. This was on the CFO Swing and Watch newsletter. So it was a failure of a breakout above 50, and we continued to move to the downside today, and we kind of reached a level that we need to breach if we are bearish here. So around $44, okay, if you want to use whole numbers. Again, that's kind of the support that we need to just completely break to the downside so that we can reach 40.50, which is kind of the line in the sand here, in order for us to try to recover to the upside, right? So if you break below 40.40 and eventually $40, then that's it for this name. We continue to plunge lower and lower until you know, possibly we can hit 2020 mid highs here back in summer of 2020, right? So you know, it was also the highs of pre-COVID levels here. So if you go back down there, then I would say TTD would be a good add. But so far, you know, TTD has been a very strong name. How do we know this? Well, it's been consolidating, right? And it's been consolidating really, really well and staying within a very tight price range when the market has been very, very volatile, especially the tech sector. So I would say continue to watch out for TTD. If you guys didn't know, TTD was a very, very expensive name back in 2021 and the previous years before that, until they had a 10-for-1 stock split, right? So you know, this was in the hundreds. Okay, so when I wanted to trade this name, I was like, oof, this is very, very expensive, right? So I didn't want to trade it, but luckily they did a nice stock splits to really help more investors to be a little bit more incentivized to invest in their stock and to have more volume in their stock. So obviously that was a great idea, which is also the reason why we're going to see Shopify doing this stock split tomorrow. Okay, their stock's going to split tomorrow. I actually don't know if it's after hours or in the morning tomorrow. So we may never know. We wouldn't know until tomorrow. But we can possibly see Shopify at let's see, you know, yeah. So it's going to be very cheap for Shopify. You know, it will bring a lot more people into Shopify, and also it will allow more liquidity into Shopify. And if you notice on Amazon, there's a lot more liquidity in Amazon as well after that nice I believe what was 24/1 stock split. So you know, with Shopify, I expect the same. I expect the bid and ask spread to be a lot better as well, especially on option contracts and not just on equities. So hopefully it will make Shopify a lot more tradable name after the stock split is over, right? So Shopify looks very good as well. It's consolidating nicely within this range. Let's make this a little bit more clear here, right? We can take these off. We can take this off, right? Nice base forming here, right? Between 300 and around 400. I would say, let's make it clear here, like 415, okay? 415 or even 410, okay? I mean, if you want accuracy, I would say 410, right? Can't really get my mouse to move that accurately, but you guys understand, right? So for Shop, good base, right? The price really didn't go anywhere since the start of May, so It's been consolidating for more than 30 days here, which is awesome to see. So this name maybe start to, it may be actually getting ready to really start forming a nice accumulation base. It looks like we've already started half of it at least. I would want to see at least another month or so of consolidation within this 300 to 410 price range. You might be saying, hey Andrew, isn't that a bit too wide? Well, it is a bit wide, but it also gives you a great trading opportunity. It's what we call range trading, okay? Range trading, where we literally trade within ranges. And what's the range? Well, between 300 and 410, right? So you buy at 400, you buy at 300, right? When it bounces, when you see a confirmation of bounce, and then you sell around 400 or around 410, right? It's very simple. And if you want to short it, then you short it around 400 or around 410 at a rejection, and you ride it all the way back down to 300 or any intraday support levels that may form. Okay, so that's the reason why I want to see Shopify continue to accumulate here and consolidate within the space, so we can start having an easy trading sessions for specifically on this single name, Shopify. Right, and I know it's going to get easier to trade this name because of the stock split, right? So hopefully we can see a nice big rush in volume as well in option contracts, and a better and tight bid and ask spread, so that the entries and exits are not too far away from the desired entries and exits. Okay. And then the last one that I want to look at for tonight is AMC. So AMC is starting to squeeze a little bit, right? And I did buy some more today. I rolled up my 13 strike contracts to 15 strike contracts for for July 15th, which are the next available kind of contracts that I want to look at. And if this continues to the upside, which it looks like it just might, because whenever I see a breakout and I see a decent and a logical pullback to that previous resistance, okay, of around 13.20ish, okay, it just makes sense to me. As a swing trader, and I've traded thousands of names, hundreds of names that have qualities of a good swing trade. Whenever I see a good breakout with good volume, especially when I see a decent and logical pullback, I expect that pullback to be low volume, right? And so we got a significantly lower volume compared to yesterday, right? So this makes sense to me, right? This makes sense to me out of the thousands of names that I've looked at, that I've broken out, and the hundreds of names that I've traded as well, right? So for AMC here, my ultimate price target here is 16.15ish, but just broadly speaking, it's just $16. And why? Well, because if you do make a top here, that'll make a double top, okay? And also, I just really want to see this name kind of hold above the 50 SMA, and it looks like the 10 and 21 are starting to curl upwards, which should really support the price higher for the rest of this week. But who knows, right? Meme stock tend to be shorted crazily after a nice big movement to the upside, right? Because, well, they do have a lot of short interest. And that's also another reason why these names tend to have a huge short squeeze rally, right? Like this movement higher here, where we saw in late March, okay? This is a nice short squeeze. Okay, and then obviously after that short squeeze came that big fall down as shorters continued to pile up in this name, right? So meme stocks are very, very, very popular with shorters who want to short every single big short squeeze. Okay, but yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm gonna cut it a little bit early here. But if you guys haven't seen my AMC video on whether or not the apes are back, if wallstbets is back with these meme stock short squeezes, go ahead and take a look at my most recent video on the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. I just do some very in-depth technical analysis on this. So AMC, like I said, I just expect more upside movement. Why? great pattern, great reversal, nice and decent logical pullback to a previous level of resistance to retest it, and it showed some sort of a bounce today. So that's showing signs that there's still buyers here, right, at this resistance, this previous resistance where we saw buying coming in, and that eventually led to a breakout, and coupled with the RSI showing strength, right? It's at 52, right? This is very, very strong, right? It's showing some good relative strength when the overall market is showing weakness. Okay, you want to be looking for names that have relative strength, right? It should make logical sense, right, at this point. So yeah, that's it for tonight. I will be going live again tomorrow. We'll be back on our regular schedule. I've been a bit busy. I've been working on the multiple projects actually. I wouldn't want to spoil them, but I've been working on multiple projects. I've been trying to manage my time pretty well. So hopefully, they all arrived on time. But yeah, thank you guys for joining this live stream as always. Thank you, Joel, for your comments. Thank you, Do Nothing. Thank you. Thank you for the likes as well. And I will see you guys all tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Have a great rest of your night and good luck trading tomorrow. Work hard and trade smart.